Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So today's video is going to be a fairly lengthy one, and today we're going to be doing a full map 7 run using Aegon. Our paths are Footloose in section 1, section 2 is Can't Stop, Won't Stop, and section 3 is Tunnel Vision. So this week skill champions do not get any attack bonus or any attack penalty, so this is base Aegon damage. I am also not running suicides, which kind of hurts Aegon damage output a bit. Now I am starting with half of my health because when I started my IQ run I knew I wanted to record it, and I did it straight after the stream, and I didn't realize that my phone is still in dock connector. So as soon as I did that I kind of panicked and force closed, and so I received a 50% attack penalty because I had to make sure my phone's not connected to my OBS basically for me to be able to screen record. Anyways, back to the fight. So I am going to be taking quite a bit of chip damage in this fight. That does not bother me too much though, just because I know how Heimdall and Thor Ragnarok synergy. Now, first fight with Aegon is always the hardest, right? Unfortunately for me, it's also quite tricky one here, just because Black Panther Civil War combined with Footloose node and permanent armor ups basically means I can't parry him ever. That means I have to either intercept or block bait heavy attacks, and then I obviously always need to be careful not to parry him by accident. Also, I need to kind of wait out all the time when he in fact throws his special attack. He goes unstoppable, and he has 50% chance to evade my attacks as well on top of it. So yeah, it is not the easiest kind of ramp up fight for Aegon. But nonetheless, we're getting there, as we can see here. Minute 20 left, he's at 13%. We have done a decent amount of damage. Can't complain too much overall. So we have 9% health left. That will do. That will be enough to clear the rest of the map. So anyways, after first fight, we have Aegon at 9% health. Next fight is Red Skull, and Red Skull is considerably easier than that Black Panther Civil War, just due down to the fact that we can actually parry him. Also, we have 54 persistent charges carried over, so we're starting on 54 combo basically, and that means we're going to be doing more damage earlier on in the fight. Now I do activate Heimdall's energy just right there, so we can see our health popped up back to 24%, took a parry, dipped down to 23, and yeah, now we just need to play careful, make sure we do not make any mistakes, don't lose our combo, and then I should get easier as we go along basically with Aegon, because that's the whole point, right? So yeah, I do kind of wish that I had Suicide Masteries on me though, because I would be dealing a lot more damage, especially it would help early on, but I did not want to mess too much with my mastery setup. But yeah, so at this point we can see that 1 minute in the fight, Red Skull is at 30% health, not too bad. Now I'm purposely throwing some level 1s just to inflate my combo meter a bit higher. I do want to get as many hits into this Red Skull as I possibly can before I drop him, without kind of like playing about too silly with it. So yeah, I'm gonna drop some level 1s just to kind of inflate my combo counter a bit. So at this point we are over 100 combo. The first kind of big thing comes at 150 combo, and that basically is gonna make sure that we have true accuracy and we can ignore evades and stuff like that. And then the big thing comes at 300 hits when we start to get our fury buffs. So at this point, Red Skull is at 8%. The fight is nearly over. I probably could have finished it quite a bit earlier, but yeah, I just wanted to get my combo up a bit more. So first two fights, not too bad. We are slowly starting to recover our health. That Black Panther Civil War fight is a bit tricky, but it's not too bad. So next opponent is Wolverine. Now this Wolverine also has strike back, so I do need to be careful when I throw my special attacks in order not to push him to 3 bars of power. And obviously I do not want him to have too much power for most part, because then he can regenerate more. But at this point here we're going in with 111 hits in our combo meter already. So we are hitting and critting more and more basically as the map will go along. Now I do trigger the regen. At this point I'm at 29% health. It's looking a bit better than it was a couple fights ago. But yeah, at this point here I dropped the level 2 nonetheless, even though he gets strike back. place some bleed on him. We do some decent amount of damage, can't complain too much there. And we can see this Wolverine sticking away quite considerably at this point. And yeah, so 40 seconds in the fight, Wolverine's already only at 24%. So the speed of the fight is definitely picking up, because yeah, Aegon does in fact start out quite slow. But here we go, so 4% left on Wolverine. He has heal, so he will get a few percent back, but it's nothing too bad. Another hit, 47 hits this fight took, so it's not much at all, and not many hits. And yeah, so the last opponent for my section 1 for my path is Hulkbuster. So he again has Footloose and Aggression Armor Node. Aggression Armor Node, don't really care too much about it. And yeah, so once again our goal is to get some more combo count on Aegon, heal up a bit, because this is a fairly flat out easy fight, nothing too complicated over here. And yeah, so I typically like to trigger my Heimdall synergy after I force opponents to throw their level 1, because then they do like to kind of dash back a bit more and be a bit more careful, I suppose. So there we go, we are at 37% health now, slowly but surely we are climbing back up. And yeah, we also have over 150 hits, so we have true accuracy unlocked once again. So now we're pushing for the big milestone of 300 hits, because that will give me Furies and increase my damage output by a fair bit. And yeah, so here we can see another level 1 just to get some more hits on my combo meter, because I know for a fact that next section is going to be a bit more tricky, because it's can't stop one stop node, and basically I'll be dealing 25% of my original attack to those guys, so the fights will last somewhat longer. But Aegon at that point should be fairly ramped up, so hopefully we will manage just fine. But yeah, this Hulkbuster meanwhile has dipped down to 15%. Just need to carefully wait out that Footloose node, and now there we go, another combo finished off at 55 hits. So technically I'm done for section 1. However, I noticed that there is a Psylocke, I had a spare energy, and I checked out the nodes on Psylocke. It was Aspect of Evolution and Shock. So since Aegon can shrug off all the debuffs, I should be fine in that fight as well. So I figured I might as well just go ahead and see how well we do. So I do need to land a hit, which I do fairly early. Did not take too much shock damage at all. And with that, this fight is pretty much over up. I do want to also have like an extra chance to heal up my Aegon, which I'm going to use right about now. So 43%, and slowly but surely our health meter is recovering. So that a fairly tragic and bad start against Black Panther Civil War, well, we have lessened the hurt of it, I suppose. So yeah, here we go, 28-30 hits, she's at 20%, so you can definitely notice fair damage increase. There I did a full combo on, however I didn't crit a single time. That felt a bit odd, but I have level 3 which I'm gonna throw, which is gonna stun that Psylocke for a considerable amount of time, and I'll definitely have enough time to finish her off there, because I do have time to get in several combos after that long level 3 stun. But yeah, now for reals, I'm done with my section 1. I am headed to bed, and next morning I wake up. As always, my teammates have cleared everything up. Omega Mini Boss is down, and I am free to jump straight up to my path in tier 2, which is on the far left side. This week that happens to be Can't Stop, Won't Stop, and I'm not a big fan of it. In past I have cleared it with Captain Marvel movie and Rogue synergy. I'm sure there are some other good options, like Morningstar could be a decent option for it, and yeah, Thing possibly, but I don't know. I don't typically like using those other champions too much, and Captain Marvel movie in this case was placed on Alliance War defense. So yeah, I figured Aegon should be able to handle it as well, right? Just because we should be having quite considerably increased damage output at this point. We are closing in on that 300 kit combo as well. That's going to give us Furies, and that will let us hit quite a bit harder. So I just need to make sure I do my part, I don't lose my combos. Also, a thing to mention is just because of Heimdall synergy and Thor Ragnarok synergy, I'm also not all that much afraid of timing out should that happen, just because I can always recover my health fairly kind of, but slowly but surely. So yeah, there's that. That's why I felt fairly comfortable bringing in Aegon here, because should I happen to time out, it's not the worst thing. You guys just saw me claw back my health from 9% to 43%, so we definitely can do it again should we have to. But yeah, at this point we can see that we have minute and 45 seconds left. Moon Knight's at 40%, so we are not in danger of timing out if we maintain the same tempo of the fight, which should not be too big of a problem. So here we can see that Moon Knight likes to throw his level 1s, which is the more annoying one, but nonetheless. Also, it's definitely nice to have that true accuracy against Moon Knight, just because he likes to evade. He likes to evade a lot and catch you, so true accuracy kind of works extremely well in this fight. But yeah, we have a minute and 15 seconds left. He's at 17%, so we will be able to close this fight out for sure. And additionally, just because to the fact that we are dealing 25% of our actual damage, we can amp up our combo meter by fair margin. As you can see, we are at 100 hits in this fight, which definitely kind of benefits Aegon fair amount. And yeah, so Moon Knight goes down. Now we're gonna have next fight, and next fight is going to be Gwenpool. It shouldn't be anything too tricky there. Just need to remember that Gwenpool once again has strike back on her, so I do need to be conscious of that when and if I use my special attacks. But yeah, so 40%, once again, it is can't stop, one stop node, so our damage numbers are definitely gimped by quite a bit. But still, at this point, we have reached the 300 combo milestone, so we get the Fury buffs, so we start dealing more damage. Here I use the chance I had to heal up. We healed to 50% now at 49, so that is good. Can't complain at all. So we managed to get back to half health, and we are not really taking all that much damage meanwhile, as we are clearing the map at this point either, so that's definitely perfect. And yeah, now I just need to make sure I finish out this fight cleanly, don't take too much damage. And here we can see that she throws her level 2, we rush in to punish her. Now at this point already we're past 300 hit combo, and we can see that we crit much more often we don't. So we do have still quite a good damage output even under can't stop, one stop node, and that quite often is also best solution to quite a few nodes. If you don't want to deal with it the way Kabam wants you to, there's always a damage option, right? You can always try and out damage any kind of issues and obstacles you have. And yeah, it is worth adding that even if this can't stop, one stop node would be 90% damage reduction, Aegon would still kind of get through it, just because you would amp yourself up to 750 hit combo a lot quicker with a couple of timeouts. Heimdall synergy and Thor Ragnarok synergy would make sure that you always have some sort of health for parries and stuff, and you would unlock Aegon's unstoppable ability. So if you do get to high enough combo, you will go unstoppable, and you will actually access your full damage. That might actually be quite interesting thing to test out with like a 4-star Aegon one day, maybe. We'll see. But yeah, now next fight I had to wait a while till Yondu gets unlinked. Now that he has, I can safely jump back in there, and nothing kind of like too tricky about this Yondu. You do need to be careful at the beginning of the fight, because he starts the fight unblockable. And now that we have waited for that to expire, basically it's quite easy fight. You can still parry Yondu's medium attack, so whenever he dashes in at you, it's safe to parry. And at the same point, you can just punish his heavy attacks or special attacks. Now I did play a bit sloppy. I was trying to get heal from Heimdall synergy, but I did not time it well, so I did have to eat a couple of hits and block, which basically ended up pretty much evening out. I was at 49%, I believe, and now I'm at 52%. But nonetheless, 52% is more than enough for us to be able to deal with this guy. And yeah, so now we can see that he's going down fairly steadily, and we're about to drop our level 2, I believe. at any point. Just need to bait out his level 1 first, because one thing you definitely do not want to do with Yondu is make your life difficult for yourself and keep pushing him to 2 bars of power. Level 1 is much easier to deal with. Now, I have evaded the level 2 a fair amount of times, but it's still one of those things that's iffy. Like, you can always mess up, and if you end up just blocking a lot of it, it still deals a lot of damage through block. So yeah, stick to level 1s. That's like the main piece of advice there whenever fighting Yondus. And aside from that, this is not the hardest opponent. So we have a minute and 20 seconds left. He's at 20%. We're well within our time limit, dropping out our level 2 there. That pushes him in assassin's range. That bleed is ticking away for a fair bit. And yeah, the fight is pretty much over at this point. And now we are moving on to the next fights. Now, I did try fighting Omega Red, but I was doing it at work and I had a boss call me, so I had to answer that call, and when I got back to the fight I was already timed out. So that is why you see Aegon having a fair bit of health loss since the last fight and this one. But once again, I'm not too kind of bothered by it, just because I know I will be able to heal Aegon right back up without much problems. And yeah, so we're starting off in a Tunnel Vision. Now, Tunnel Vision is a fairly tricky node. What I typically like to do against opponents there is go for medium light medium combo. Now, one thing to mention though is, because of Tunnel Vision placing you an actual debuff on you, you can use that to heal yourself up. However, doing that against Massacre is probably not the best idea, just because if you have an active debuff on yourself, you have a 50% reduced defensive ability accuracy while you're blocking, and that, however, means that your parries might fail. So the clever plan to heal up can quite often backfire, which it did like here. I am dropping my level 1 there just to get rid of that Tunnel Vision debuff and pretty much close out the fight there. I did lose my combo. I did get hit, so that was not perfect by any means. But yeah, so now I had to wait quite a bit till much later on in the day to get unlinked. And while I was doing so, my teammate kindly took care of this Daredevil Netflix by the time he tagged me afterwards. And then I have this Iron Fist and Loki fights to do. I'm also going to have some boss action and Groot fight, I think. But yeah, so at this point, our Aegon is pretty much ramped up. We don't have any damage penalties. We have 414 hits on our combo meter. So I figured I might as well try and heal my Aegon up a bit more. Why not? What bad it can do, right? So the plan there is I want to push him a bit further to his side of the screen, get Tunnel Vision debuff on myself on purpose, and as I do that, just basically dance about, stall for as long as I can, and just let willpower heal me up, because hey, free health. It is quite funny how Aegon went down from 100% to 9% in the first fight, then recovered, then we had to force timeout again, and yeah, so, but nonetheless, at this point we're at 52% health and slowly but surely healing up. I am trying to buy myself a tiny bit of time more, just because I like to see my health go up a few more percent. Now, at this point, I definitely didn't have to do it, because the map is nearly over. We're already in section 3. I only have a couple of fights left. But yeah, I suppose I find it a bit entertaining. And yeah, so now that Iron Fist goes down, we're gonna head towards Loki. Now Loki again has power reserve node on him, and obviously Loki's ability lets him gain power below 1 bar. That means he will be spamming a lot of special attacks. Now on the bright side, since there is power reserve, I could be spamming a lot of special attacks as well, should I choose to. Now I begin the fight by triggering Heimdall Heal. As you guys will have noticed, Heimdall Heal gets less and less potent the higher your health is when you try to activate it. So it works best when you're at low health, but when you are, let's say, above 50% health, we saw that it just healed me up for like 6% instead of the 15-17% we could get when we were like on death doors at that point. But somehow, slowly but surely, we have managed to claw our way back up to 80% health. Now that is a fairly respectable amount of health. Also keeping in mind that we have only used Aegon for every single fight in this map 7 run, which I think is kind of cool. The champion can do like all 3 parts in all 3 sections. And now I got that miss falter debuff on myself again on purpose, just to get my health a bit more up, but he is cornering me, so I will have to actually finish off the fight pretty much at this point. Still 90% health, not bad at all. And yeah, so Loki goes down, didn't take as many hits at all. I was purposely kind of stalling that fight. And now I see that I'm going to be short for that Groot, so I had to wait another 40 minutes before I could fight him. Now he's still linked, so all my damage is halved at this point. And we're going in there with 89% health, which isn't too bad. And let's see how long does it take for us to chip down this Groot. Now it is extremely kind of advantageous with Aegon that at this point I can also easily hit opponent's block and deal massive amounts of damage, so I don't always have to try and find openings if I don't want to. I can be fairly comfortable just tapping his block and having some fun with it. But nonetheless, we have 50% attack reduction here. So once again, we don't really get the actual Aegon damage numbers. And at this point, I kind of wish I had Suicide Zone, because I would definitely like to do some of these fights with ramped up Aegon in AQ with Suicides. But I did not need to play Suicide Zone for my Alliance War attack this time as well, so I didn't want to mess about too much without a proper reason kind of thing. So we can see that 1 minute in the fight we have chipped away 25% of his health, so it's not a bad pace at all, considering these beefy mini bosses before Thanos have like 15-minute timers. We definitely will have well enough time to finish them off. Always kind of like to see for myself, would I be able to do it within the 3 minutes that are allocated? And here it does look like that I would time out if the timer would be at 3 minutes. However, on the plus side, we can still amp up some Aegon's combo meter for Thanos fight, because I will get some Thanos action. Unfortunately, not too well I'm gonna perform in that. I'm gonna make some silly mistakes and I'm not gonna do all that much damage to the guy. But yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves. So this Groot, we are 2 minutes in at this point. He is at half a health, so we can see that, yeah, that estimate is thereabouts on point. It would and should take us about 4 minutes to get this guy down. And yeah, so we're just spamming our level 1 because level 2, well, Groot is bleed immune, so it would feel like a waste of a special attack, because that's the main thing that level 2 has. Going for it is the bleed. And now I do make a slight mistake and shoot Aegon's level 1 in the block. However, if you haven't noticed by now, then that's actually fairly safe. I don't think I have ever actually gotten punished when I made that mistake and dropped level 1 in the block with Aegon, just because of its nature, how he pushes away opponents. Yeah, I don't know, it's just one of those interactions that definitely seems to be one of the specials, that it is fairly safe to drop in opponent's block and you have enough time to get out of the way, or quite often they don't even try to punish you. Now there I was trying to be kind of funny. I wanted to get the Furies up on me to increase my damage output, and we kind of succeeded to a point, but that also got me a bit greedy. And I think here I tried to heal, and as I tried to heal, he did get good smacks in me, and all that health that we hoarded for Thanos fight has pretty much gone to waste. On the bright side now, obviously I do have increased damage output, and will be able to close out this fight relatively quickly, but it's a silly mistake that cost me like vast majority of my health, and yeah, it's unfortunate. We do finish it with a nice big hit though. What the funny about this fight was, I turned out that my teammate was fighting the other linked mini boss here at the same time as I was, so by the time I was finished with Groot, he was finished with his own fight as well. Now I am boosted here from War, because I'm doing this fight kind of like in between champions that I cleared in War, so I will have some decent chance to do some damage. Here we can see that our damage finally isn't gimped and we can actually hit fairly hard. Now I do play successfully on his first level 1. Unfortunately, I think I will get tagged somewhere here in a second. on another special await as well. But yeah, this definitely was not my best Thanos fight. And yeah, here he tags me, Heimdall Synergy saves me. At this point I kind of go, well, I have the Furies, so I have to make some use of them. We do drop some good hits in the block. And then I do successfully await his level 2, drop my own level 2. So we did manage to deal decent amount of damage, but here I do make a mistake and I dash in at Thanos and I die. Anyways, I hope you guys liked today's video. If you did, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit all the buttons, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon in my next video.